Hello everyone, Rob here with the Arc of Father Time, back for another episode, and I promise this will not be as depressing as the last one. I'm gonna try not. The whole point of the previous episodes was to shed light on the possible reasoning on why I had my illumination or my near-death experience or my heart condition that caused me to intersect in a moment with Christ and what I was shown and my life prior to that, all the stress and all the hypertension that led to my awakening, so to speak. So, where have I been? I've been in what is very well known as hell in the last month because I've been to the dentist, the oral surgeon. I had a great oral surgeon, and I had two surgeries, and I'm going to have more surgeries going forward. So I've just been healing from my mouth stuff because being a traumatized child, this isn't an unknown or uncommon story. I had braces in my early teens, and I didn't keep up with them. My dad left in the middle of that whole process, and I just didn't keep up with it. And then I, already had experiences with my orthodontist that were just, somewhat traumatic. It's just not easy going to the dentist. And anybody who's had braces knows that it's a very difficult process to go through. It's very painful. And so because of that, I just put off going to the dentist so many times and healed my own toothache so many times that I just thought I didn't really need to go. And finally, I just had a toothache that was unbearable, and I had to take care of it. So I took care of it, and everything's good. I had a great surgeon, Dr. Lim, who made me very, very comfortable throughout that process. But today, I think we're gonna have some illuminating shows or episodes from here on out because I want to talk about reality in a way that a lot of people don't talk about reality. In actual reality, in the reality that we're all connected, that we're all energy, that God is one thing, God is one, and a lot of people wake up to this reality, but not everybody catches the final truth, which is something I'm going to talk about. We have Illuminati and we have Illumi-Nice, and I'm just being fun by calling certain Illuminates naughty because if we believe in God, we know that God is always in control. So if the Illuminate's naughty, God's being naughty too. And under no circumstance is it possible to do anything outside of God. God knows what's happening. God knows what you're doing. If He doesn't want you to do it, you're not going to be able to do it. It's just the way that God works, the way that reality works. And, a lot of times people look back and they think about their choices, and somehow the choice that they didn't make is still a choice in their mind, like they should have done that. That's not how it works. There's a straight line back to God. But when we look back, we think, oh, well, it's a jagged line because I've made different choices. God doesn't see it like God is one straight line. There's you all the way back. So there's either you denying that the reality that happened to you happened, or there's acceptance in a straight line back to God. This is where people are able to connect to the reality that God is within you. So once you start accepting, forgiving, loving, walking as Christ, and a lot of people hear that and they go, walk as Christ, what does that even mean? It means you live in reality. God is one thing. All the choices you had behind you weren't actually choices. You made the decisions that you made along with God, and that's a straight line back to Him. So then moving forward, it's a matter of making better choices, not judging people. And let's get into that real quick with Illuminati, Illumi-Nice. So what's I'm being silly, but what's Illuminati? What's an Illuminate being naughty? Well, let's say it's someone who has a gift from God, which we all do, but they're living out their gift. Let's say they're a singer. While at the same time, they're getting paid a lot of money to sing. while at the same time they might want to write songs about flowers and family and all this other stuff, but instead they're being marketed, advertised, and they're not in control of their God-given talent. Well, that's illumination in the sense that they've accepted who they are, they accepted the gifts that God gave them, and then they give that gift back to us, but we call it naughty because they don't have maybe control over their gift. Maybe they're not allowed to talk about God or Christ or even able to look into that. And at the same time, it's possible that someone who, let's say does know God, denies God, and also sells you on materialism, saying that it's material that will make you happy. Now, the reality is that everything you see, in essence, is the Son of God. So everything you're experiencing as an individual item or the world that you look around you and you can label every single thing is a form of material. So in materialism absolutely makes us happy. The problem is it's defined differently. It's like stuff. Is stuff going to make you happy? Sometimes stuff makes you happy because you're in a position where stuff is able to do that. If you're on the wrong track, eventually that will catch up to you and you'll realize that, having that house or having that car, or having that boat or whatever it is that you thought was going to make you happy, your family might not be running as well as it could, your friendships, your work, a lot of things might suffer while you have material, and you start sensing that materialism isn't the route to go. So with Illuminati, Illumi-Nice, I look at, me being illuminated. I had my experience, and let me show you a little bit of an example. I got this prop here, and this right here is a cheap, crystal that I got off of Amazon. I have a bunch of these in my windows and stuff. It's like a sun catcher or a light catcher, but it's a good example of how reality works. I've recorded this twice already, and I don't want to give out too much. That's every time this is all improvised, which is why I do a lot of uhs and, just sound like a goofball probably half the time. And I can never tell if I'm giving out too much. So let me interrupt my little presentation here. And thank you first for getting this far into the video. I hope you get all the way to the end. It's hard for me to ask for likes and subscribes. So if you have that in you, please like and subscribe and see what I say next. But at the same time, I also want you to ask me questions. You might not want to put weird, crazy questions about reality into the comments. You can go to my homepage and look for my email. My email is going to be in there. Ask me anything. I'd love to, create a show or an episode on questions. I'd prefer all my episodes are based on your questions. Not everybody has someone who's awakened to this reality close by. So if you happen to find me, this isn't a channel that's necessarily for the faint of heart, but I'm always going to be lighthearted. I'm always going to tell you that God is real. That the Son of God exists within you and God exists within you. And I'm never going to draw you away from God. I'm never going to pull you away from God. I'm always going to give you the truth, which is my example here. Okay. Now look at this diamond, let's say, and you can see hopefully that it has a bunch of little faces on it. I'm looking, yeah, and little triangles. So you see this crystal, it has a bunch of faces on it. Well, through the Spirit, and we know that in the Bible it says, the one of the biggest sins that's completely unforgivable is talking or talking crap about the Spirit. Well, why? Well, it's the Spirit that runs all of reality. It's the thing that's spinning in every single invention, every single, diamond, every single thing, every single person that's walking around is being held up by this one Spirit. And when I say one Spirit, I mean one Spirit. It's God. It's to understand that God is all knowledge. So with God's knowledge and the Spirit, he spins this diamond. And in my near-death experience, I was shown something almost exactly like this. Now, I say almost, I like to leave a few things out just in case I'm not supposed to spill the beans completely. But at the same time, I like talking honestly, and I like having a real conversation, and I like sharing real information. So this diamond, let's say, will spin, okay? And it's spun by the Spirit. So you imagine this darkness filling this diamond and then spinning it. And as it spins, it projects individual lights. Look at my fingertips as individual lights that this diamond is spinning, and each one represents a different person, okay? Now, this is all of reality. This is what, gravity is. It's all right here, and then it spins, pushes out, and then it just instinctually is trying to get back to the center. That's what gravity is. So what's our job? Well, we get distracted by all the other reflections because it's not just people, it's stuff, it's things, it's everything that you see. It's all that exists under the sun. Nothing new. Why is it not new? Because it was always here to begin with. So what's your job? Well, your job is to get back to the center. Well, how do you do that? Well, you connect to God. And what's that? Well, that's looking into your soul. It's the solar system, okay? Sounds funny, sounds like a joke, but it's the solar system. Everybody's like, hey, look at the solar system. It's outside of you. Well, no, that's a system telling you that it's outside of you because nothing's outside of you. This is all within you. This is all an external projection that God is projecting, and then we, up against the wall, are pretending that we're all separate, and it's a wonderful, wonderful experience because we love connection. We love having family. We love having friends or pets or things, So when you accept who you are from that past that you thought was jagged and crooked and realize God was with you the whole time, you start to wake up. You start to realize that this is something that you, in essence, want to start participating with. Not necessarily joining the system. The solar system is a choice between the solar system. The soul says, hey, God, thank you for my story. Thank you for my history. I'm going to give it back to the world in gratitude, and I'm going to tell everybody the gift that you gave me. So in essence, like someone like a Stephen King, let's say had a really traumatized past, starts creating traumatic stories, traumatizing other people into taking pause in their life and going, whoa, that was a scary story that Stephen King wrote. Maybe I shouldn't get involved in, certain situations because I can see the cautionary tale that he's trying to tell us. Or the system. And the system goes, okay, what's on TV? What's the news saying? Interesting. Okay, it looks like there's a lot of disease running rampant around the world. I think I'm going to go become a doctor and I'm going to help people to get well. That can work to an extent. The doctors, it's real iffy, when it comes to whether a doctor is going to make it through their career with their sanity, just trying to connect to people's souls. They're not really going to do that. They tend to have to, prescribe medication and not really talk about, let's say, certain things when it comes to health. So there's the system, and the system does not disconnect you from God. Now, prioritizing the system over God absolutely attempts to disconnect. It's basically, being around this, but looking the other way, having the gift that God gave you, but then giving credit to the system itself. And the reality is that everybody has the same perspective. Everybody is perceiving the world pushed out of them, and you have a choice to believe that it's outside of you or to know that it's in you, right? Now, if you believe that it's outside of you, the system's working, okay? And it's not necessarily right or wrong, but if you're finding a channel like this that, let's say, isn't necessarily for the faint of heart, who is actually trying to live in reality as reality actually is, then you got to go, okay, it's pretty simple, really. All this started within God. There's never been an external thing. All reality is always going to be an internal projection, perceived externally. Why? Well, it's not possible for God to create a universe, or even the Big Bang to create a universe, and somehow something is outside of that. It all starts from within, goes out and goes back in, goes out, goes back in. There's a lot of theories that, like Big Bounce, things like that, kind of talk about stuff that's similar, but it's not necessary. The system is always going to divide God in as many ways as possible. God being a perfect natural circle, and we'll get into that in another episode. But realize that there is no external. This is all internal. This is all a gift of the reality that God is the entire thing, and that we, through God, experience our life perceived to be externally. So, Illuminati, Illumi-Nice, what is important is to know that you can't fix everything that's going on outside of you. Everybody's waking up to something, right? But everybody's waking up to the reality that this is all within them. It's like discovering placebo opposed to big pharma. You go, well, why does placebo work so well, and why does big pharma advertise so much? It's like you're waking up. You're waking up to the reality. This is all one thing. Everybody has to make the choice. You learn something new, and you want to tell the world. That's great, but are you really going to tell the entire world? Nobody's going to connect to the entire world. It's just not possible. So it can't be, oh, you discovered it and now you have to share the discovery so you can wake everybody up. That's not how it works. They'll off you in 2 seconds if they really think that you're trying to wake everybody up. You're not going to be able to connect to everybody. That's not how it works. I say don't leave anybody out of your heaven. So what I mean by that is you're living a life. There is something that you want to do in this world, and it's really, really good. You could call it important or not, to figure out what it is that you want to do. And it should be a good thing. It should be something that you love, enjoy, and all that stuff. Waking up to reality is great, but you're not going to be able to convince everybody that the sky is falling or the world is upside down. There's a system in place, and it's in place for a reason. It's one, because it's super hard to hide the infinity of God. And 2, because reality has to bounce off of something. So this is what it's bouncing off of right now. So make the best of it. Well, how do you do that? Well, you walk as Christ. Well, that sounds weird. Walking as Christ is very, very simple. It's not judging God in the creation that you see around you. It's understanding that even if somebody is upset with you or yelling at you or whatever, they're coming from a very specific place. So there's no point in judging them for that. It's not taking out your lack of happiness on other people. It's understanding that at any point in your life, you can choose to utilize the gifts that God gave you. You can look within your traumas and within the experiences that you've had in your life, and you can go, whoa, if Stephen King can write The Shining out of this experience that he had, what can I create out of my life? A lot of people are telling their story, and when you're telling it proactively in gratitude for God, there's no stopping you. There's no stopping you. You're looking back at your life at all the crazy stuff, and you're looking at it as a straight line, that as a gift from God. And then going forward, you're acting and you're living your life with that knowledge that it's a gift. And then you see people struggling, and instead of being upset with how they struggle or why they're struggling or what they're struggling about, you guide them, you help them, you love them. They're throwing rocks at you, and you're catching them, and you're putting them down, and you're putting them in your pocket, and you're saving them later to polish, and you're going, hey, can I help you? Instead of living out everybody's stress because you're always waiting to be triggered. Everybody's going through something. Everybody's going to always be going through something. It's a matter of whether you're going to start looking in where God is, showing gratitude for the life that you've had, no matter how traumatic, because the more trauma you have, the more people that you can connect to. Doesn't mean you have to go and become a therapist, but you could really connect to a lot of people telling your stories, whether you're doing it through, the food that you create, or whether you do it through the movies that you make, or the books that you write, or the teacher or the children that you teach, whatever it is. Recognizing that everybody is on their own path is key to being grateful for what God gave you. Everybody's kind of sitting from their own perspective. They have this view of the world, and it's been shown to you by a system, and then maybe that system isn't enough, so you start trying to find channels like this that are talking about reality for how it actually is. You have time, God is infinite, but God also talks about the heavens passing away, which also lends to the reality that nothing here is new. If the heavens pass away, or even these heavens will pass away too, they've already passed away. Nothing here is new. So to judge someone for, whatever they're doing, implying that this is new to you, doesn't make it new. It's to understand that nothing can be new under the sun when it all started right here. God is all things, all knowledge. So all that existed here, then it spins and then individualizes it and separates it from itself, from each face of this diamond. I've seen this light. It's not really magic. It's just God. It's to understand that all knowledge is going to manifest some form of world around it. And that's what we're doing. So going forward, I really just want to answer questions. I want my episodes to be specifically driven on people's inquiries, people's questions. So email me, leave a comment, whatever you want to do. I look forward to, hearing your emails. Thank you if you like and subscribe. Thank you if you don't and you just want to, search me and find me every once in a while to see what I'm up to. I appreciate that. Go to the dentist if you have to. But anyway, God is within. Search within. Breathe, learn to breathe. A lot of people, they might hear that and they go, I know how to breathe. So if it makes you defensive, then you might want to practice breathing. We don't oxygenate well enough here. This is what makes us think that we're our bodies when we're not. It's like when we sleep. When you sleep, you separate from your body, and sure, you might be, tethered with the silver cord, they like to say, which is very likely true. We're never disconnected no matter what. It's just a matter of, how are you going to express your beliefs, and a lot of people are, victims right now, and they're becoming stressed about the news or reality that's being presented to them. And that's okay. We're not going to be able to affect everybody, but if you found me, you're probably looking for answers, and you're probably looking for truth. And yes, the world is upside down, backwards, and everything else in between. But the truth is that this whole universe exists in you. God exists in you. The Son of God exists in you. And because of that, if you, can breathe, be still and know that I am God, it's very important. It'll be easier to connect to the reality of this universe, so to speak. A single song, I like to say. And when you're able to connect to it, you're able to be honest with yourself about the gifts of those traumas that you might have experienced, and the possibilities of giving those back to the world, signing your name to your life, and being ready to go on to the next. Like they say, ain't no rest for the wicked until you close your eyes for good. You close your eyes for the good of what you've done. Until then, you're just awake, running through this system over and over again, whatever that means to you. So anyway, I I hope you guys have an amazing day. I hope you guys pick up your Bible, read your Bible, find yourself in the Bible. But most of all, most important, walk as Christ by not judging other people for the love of the reality that we're all going through special experiences and we're all going to meet on the other side. So don't leave them out of the other side because you're judging them here. Understand that there is a perfect version of all of us. Right now, we're just on this stage trying to get through the best way that we can. The quicker you connect to God, the quicker you connect to the gifts that He gave you, the quicker you'll connect to the gift of this universe that has been given to us. Anyway, I'm Rob. This is the Arc of Father Time, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing, blessed day. Thank you. We're just memories dancing on the line.